Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into a really fascinating pilot study that explores a brand new way to tackle cognitive decline.
Okay, let's just dive right in. We're starting with a massive question, one that affects millions of people. Is it actually possible to improve or even just slow down the cognitive decline that comes with dementia? For so long, the answers have been pretty discouraging, but some new research is offering a real glimmer of hope.
So, to really get why this new study is such a potential breakthrough, we first have to understand the core problem that researchers have been banging their heads against when it comes to brain training.
Here's the situation. We're facing a global challenge. Thanks to modern medicine, people are living longer than ever before, which is fantastic. But the tough part is that extra longevity also means a higher risk of cognitive decline and dementia. And right now, there's no cure.
A huge hurdle for a lot of brain training programs is this key difference right here. Most of them only give you what's called a near effect. So you get really good at the specific little computer game you're playing, but that skill doesn't really help you in your day-to-day life. The real goal, the holy grail, is the far effect, where the training actually makes a noticeable difference in your real-world memory and problem solving, and that has been incredibly hard to achieve.
So, how do we get past that roadblock? Well, this is where the new study gets really clever. They came up with a novel, two-pronged attack to try and crack this very problem.
Their big idea was, what if we combine two powerful things? First, instead of having people play computer games alone, they used tutored exercises. That means a dedicated, real human being guiding every single participant. And second, they added a little technological boost, a non-invasive brain stimulation tool to help get the brainwaves firing in sync during the training.
So what is this TACS thing anyway? Well, the full name is transcranial alternating current stimulation. You can basically think of it as a super gentle, safe way to encourage your brain's own electrical signals, your brainwaves, to sync up to a specific rhythm. In this case, it was 40 Hz, which is a gamma brainwave. And that's important because gamma is kind of like the brain's get-to-work frequency. It's what our brains naturally produce when we're really focused, learning something new, or solving a tough problem.
All right, so that's the theory. A human tutor plus brainwave tuning tech. But how did they actually test it out? Let's take a look at the study's setup.
So for this pilot study, they brought in 28 people, all of whom had a dementia diagnosis. They were between 56 and 83 years old. Then they split them right down the middle into two groups. Group 1 got just the tutored cognitive exercises. Group 2 got the exact same exercises, but with the TACS brain stimulation at the same time.
And listen, this was no walk in the park. This was an intensive program. They wanted to give the brain the best possible chance to change and adapt. So for 4 weeks straight, 5 days a week, every participant did 2 30-minute training sessions a day.
Okay, this is where it gets really compelling. The researchers checked in on everyone's cognitive function at 3 key points: right before the study began, immediately after the 4 weeks were over, and then again 1 month later.
First things first, let's look at the starting line. Before any training happened, these were the average cognitive scores for both groups. So this is our baseline, our before picture. And now, check this out. After just 4 weeks, wow, look at that jump. Both groups showed some pretty significant improvement. And this is a huge deal on its own because it tells us that just having that human tutor was highly effective. That human touch really made a difference.
But here's the real kicker, the million-dollar question. What happened 1 month after all the training had stopped? Well, the group that only did the exercises, they kept the gains they'd made, which is fantastic news. But look at the group that also got the TACS. They didn't just maintain their gains, they actually kept improving, even with no more training.
The researchers basically said that adding TACS seems to supercharge the exercises, making the benefits not only bigger but also last longer. It suggests it might be kicking off something neuroscientists call long-term potentiation. You can just think of it as strengthening the connections between brain cells, which helps make that new learning really stick.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? I mean, it's promising, but what does it actually mean for the future?
So we boil it all down, it comes to 2 main things. First, intensive, one-on-one, human-tutored exercises can really work for people with dementia. And second, adding this TACS brain stimulation seems to make those exercises work even better and for longer.
Now hold on, before we get too carried away, it is super important to be cautious here.
The researchers themselves are totally upfront about the study's limitations. It was a small pilot, right? Only 28 people, and the participants weren't randomly assigned to the groups. Plus, there was no placebo or sham TACS group, which is really the gold standard for this kind of research. Without that, you can't be 100% sure the effect isn't just from the extra attention.
But even with all that said, this study is a huge first step. It really opens the door for bigger, more rigorous trials down the road. It's a powerful proof of concept, and it leaves us with a really hopeful question for the future of brain health. Could the right blend of human connection and targeted technology become a powerful new weapon in the fight against dementia?